So this is fun, and it's just divine perfection, of course, in how it all plays out. My first question this evening is to get a little more information on the Guardian perspective of the Ascension timeline, and maybe start the explanation for those listeners that are not fully immersed in all of your information with an explanation of the Guardian forces.
Very good. Thank you, Mark. Yes. Well, the Guardian forces, beings that I would explain, most of them are light beings, meaning they're not in a form that humanity would understand, in terms of their existence. And yet some of them do incarnate in both extraterrestrial types of forms and humanoid type of forms. But the common collective of this particular group is a Christed intelligence of unity. So from their perspective, saying unity intelligence and crystal star or consciousness, it's one and the same. It's a consciousness that is directly connected to the source, that is assisting this planet at this time to have a opportunity to experience in physical matter what it means to be God and sovereign and free. So this particular planet has undergone a lot of territorial disputes and conflicts regarding control and genetic preferencing, and that has also resulted in levels of discrimination depending on the particular extraterrestrial groups and hive minds and the various levels of belief systems that operate in these particular realities. So we have a very interesting dynamic on planet Earth where planet Earth is a genetic library of the universe where lots of genetic material has been seeded over the course of many millions of years, actually, and this has been a place that is really the heart of the universal structure, where everything happens in terms of genetic hybridization and experimentation and things like that. And we have had histories of abuse which have created detriment and deterioration into the genetic templating of many of the species on this planet. And so from the Guardian perspective, there has been a call, let's say a consciousness or clarion call from Mother Earth and from the beings that are here to protect Mother Earth and the genetic library here, where Christed beings are here to protect the sovereignty and the integrity of the vibration of the DNA templating structure and of the genetic material that has been seeded on planet Earth, and one of those being the human being, the divine human angel that you're also, which is operating at a very low level of its potential, meaning in terms of DNA strands being activated in the Guardian model, there's a minimum of 12 strands of DNA, and the human being at this particular timeline is maybe active in 2.5. So some of our indigo kids and indigo races that have agreed to come here on this planet have imprints that have activated certain higher DNA strands. And this, again, is for the overall divine plan to assist in the forward movement progression of evolution of a species that has actually regressed in its potential to the point of near annihilation, to recover that and to assist in a forward momentum of evolution where the human race and the future potential of the human race is able to exist in form bodies such as in this density, but to experience an at-one-ment with the source, a sovereignty and a freedom, which is the frequency quality of the source light is sovereignty and freedom. So we have a lot of beings that have acted as intermediaries on this planet and promoted what's known as false ascension timelines, false ascension plans, through literal understanding of false god constructs. So many of these false gods are extraterrestrial and have decided to become intermediaries between the human being and the source. And the sovereign light of the Guardian forces is to protect the divinity of each being, to have the right to fully connect to their own source light and to the directs rather than having an intermediary. So that is really the crux of what the guardian forces are, is to protect the divinity of each being, in that the being's choice to fully connect in a direct relationship with their own source light. And what has happened down here is actually the opposite, where that connection has been interfered with, and that is one of the reasons why there has been a guardian intervention on this planet, of which in the guardian perspective has been a prison planet, meaning that this planet has been suppressed with frequency fences that cap off the ability of the soul and the spiritual expression to be beyond a certain parameter. So it's like saying on planet Earth there's been a parameter of existence that exists within a certain frequency, and when there are beings down here that actually expand their consciousness and their spirit bodies, meaning they become embodied in that source light, because there's various layers and levels of that frequency coming into embodiment. When they reach a certain threshold, they would be attacked, or they would be manipulated, or they would be superimposed with karmic load. And this would be to prevent the freedom of what spiritual ascension means, which is literal at one with the source light, which happens through unity intelligence or the cosmic Christ consciousness. So a lot of distortion to the cosmic Christ consciousness has also happened on planet Earth by distorting a planetary Christ to appear crucified and tortured as a redeemer, when the cosmic Christ is actually about the sovereign freedom of direct alignment to the source light. So we are on a timeline now which has been liberated, which means the potential of the sovereign free ascension timeline, as protected and anchored by the guardian host, which is also called the Aurora host or crystal host, has now become the time on planet Earth. And this has happened actually just in January this year. We ended a 26,000-year cycle, which has been an age of evolution and progression, or we could say de-evolution. In understanding, we've just exited out of a very dark age of control, and the control has been waged in alien technology, which uses mind control archetypes and various sophisticated technologies to suppress human beings in belief systems that are actually more damaging for their soul and for their growth than progressive. So we've reached a milestone where the crystal host, the Christ consciousness, the guardian forces are hosting this planet, which means the probable and possible timeline of ascension, freedom from reincarnation is possible for this planet, and there is a window of time of which this is being held for beings that are both incarnate here in this dimension and incarnated in other dimensions, and also people that choose to leave their bodies at this time, because the actual death process has changed also. How the process of dropping a body and moving into the astral plane, that process is now forever changed on planet Earth, and that means that the progression of freedom can also be had in the soul planes. There's still shenanigans and things happening there, but what is extremely important and beautiful in terms of what we have worked very hard on planet Earth to achieve is the ascension timeline of full liberation from reincarnation wheel, and the ability to experience the direct God connection is possible. Its potential is here, and this is now what we're assisting is, now that that has been brought here and anchored as a part of the host, now the next part of the process is really the re-education of value in bringing humanity back to humanity, meaning what has happened to planet Earth is alien. It is not humane. It is not what a true human being is. And so we have to now re-educate ourselves and reprogram ourselves from the trauma, the pain, the fears, and the suppressions and oppressions in every possible permutation that we have experienced on planet Earth since birth, because it's embedded in our social structures, in our economic and financial and monetary systems. The systems that have been set up on planet Earth are actually under negative alien control. So now we reach a time where the re-education and the rehabilitation of humanity can begin, and that's, again, a fantastic thing. We finally have made it to that point. So does that describe the Ascension timeline to you?
Yes, absolutely.